You are watching The Customer Edge. Hi, everybody. I'm Butch Stearns. We are talking about how to be loved in sales today, and we're hopefully striving to give you a guide to sales effectiveness. We're talking about collaboration, enablement, implementation, social selling, and more. And I am clearly not the expert. When it comes to that, I do have some skills in it, I think. But welcome back to Customer Edge. Joining me now with Robert Rothschild of SAP is Peter Ostro, who's a VP Group Director, Sales Effectiveness and Strategy. You got a lot of things in your title, Peter.
We get paid by the word, Butch.
From Aberdeen. You're an analyst about this for several decades. You've been passionate about this. Tell people what they need to know about you, Peter.
Sure. So a lot of my career has basically been in selling, managing salespeople, and doing sales ops. And so coming over to the analyst side of the house about 5-6 years ago, it was pretty easy to figure out how to help to create content for that audience. And the methodology is basically we crowdsource what works for hundreds of companies and help folks who consume our research learn really from each other more than it is actually from us.
Selling has become more complex now, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about what David just talked about in the last segment, selling has become so complex and it's so much more difficult than, I mean, if you go back to the Mad Men era of sales, I mean, this was the days where in order to be successful in sales, all you needed was a great smile, good golf swing, and a few martinis in order to close the deal. And nowadays, you've got to orchestrate so many different moving parts. There are people within your organization, outside your organization, subject matter experts, content that's coming from so many different angles. And to be able to pull that together in a cohesive way so that you can provide value to your customers.
I think it requires the sales rep, contemporary sales rep, to be more of a student of their business than ever before.
I agree.
And I think the idea that you can just take someone with the smile and the swing, hand them a phone, a list, a territory, and a playbook, and expect that they're going to do well just because they're good in sales, that's a fallacy. More and more we see the best-in-class companies in our research hiring sales reps who actually have industry experience, who have, of course, the personalities in place to get the deal done, but who actually are their own mini subject matter experts.
Peter, let's talk about social channels. How does the insight from social channels help or hurt this process?
It hurts if you use it as your sole source of information. I think that the Dow dropped 150 points in minutes last week because, I don't know, somebody hacked some corporation's account and everybody was all on Twitter about it, and then suddenly they realized that it wasn't the case. So it's one communications channel, but the power can't be ignored. Our research shows that the strongest performing companies, the people who shrink their sales cycles, grow their deal size, grow revenue, et cetera, all the metrics you mentioned earlier, Robert, these companies are much more likely to already tell us that they have closed deals that were sourced on social media and closed deals that were heavily influenced by social media. Now, will a tweet lead to a $10 billion deal? Probably not. But it's just another way in which people can have some insight into the behavior of their prospects and customers. It's one thing to know the person's title and their email address, or even that they might have downloaded a paper or attended an event. But on Twitter and in social media, despite the best of controls, there's a lot less control, really, by the corporation because their competitors can tweet, their LinkedIn members can say things and put them in and out of groups and whatnot. It gives everybody the opportunity to have a conversation. So it's not so much of controlling the conversation as being tuned into it that allows the better sellers to have more insight into what their customers are looking for.
And David Brock was sort of alluding to this in his segment with Tyler Pyburn in the Get the Edge segment here on Customer Edge, on collaboration on many levels of this. So when it comes to social, you know, it's one way to get it and find out behaviors, but you need collaboration amongst all parts of the organization, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It's not just within the organization, though. It also, you have the complexity of the sales process now extends beyond the enterprise. So you have people that you need to form alliances within your customers, within your partners, within your channel partners. There's so many different aspects of that that tie into it.
And collaboration leads to insight.
It does.
We just did some research on a small technology area called portals, deal rooms, et cetera. Again, I was sort of whining earlier about how come you guys in marketing know all about the behavior of your audience, and in sales, I sent the proposal. I think it's going to close by the end of the month. I feel like, you know, it's all the emotion, right? And got to get to the facts when we're talking about building that forecast. But with portals and deal rooms, we've got the opportunity for collaboration because suddenly, as a sales rep, I know if or for how long my prospect or customer has opened up the proposal or the RFP response. And my boss can actually say to me, you know what, I don't think I'm putting that to 90% in the CRM because very frankly, no one on your customer side has actually paid attention to the content you put out there. You need to put something else in your pipeline.